You've likely been encouraged to open up, to be candid, to speak from your core, to share your reality with others. Supposedly, truth fosters intimacy, but that's a myth, a narrative pushed by those who benefit from your openness, by manipulators who smile while storing your words like weapons, by a world that praises the illusion of authenticity only to punish you the second you become too transparent. Machiavelli saw through it. The promise given was a necessity of the past. The promise broken is a necessity of the present. He didn't preach connection, he preached control. And if you aim to thrive, not as prey but as a tactician, you'll need to adopt his most ruthless principles. It begins with this: never disclose these 7 truths to anyone. First, keep your true intentions hidden. Many advise you to be upfront about your goals, but Machiavelli would warn, everyone sees what you seem to be. Few truly understand what you are. The instant people see your destination, they start plotting roadblocks. They assess how to manipulate your ambition, whether you pose a threat. Fear is projected, coalitions form, gossip spreads. Sabotage begins long before your journey even starts. Your drive unsettles them, and your honesty arms them. So hide it. Keep them guessing. Let them dismiss you while you quietly forge the empire they never imagined. Don't say, "I want a promotion." Say, "I'm learning as I go." Don't declare, "I'm done here." Say, "Time will tell." Don't wage war. Let them believe peace is eternal. Because when your plans are invisible, your adversaries have no target. Second, conceal your emotional vulnerabilities. They urge you to be authentic, to be open. What they truly want is a map to your pain. When you confess your hurt, your doubts, your loneliness, they don't see bravery. They see leverage. People store your emotional injuries like toxins, methodically, discreetly, to be used when it suits them most. They'll smile when you expose your soul, nod in false solidarity. But once the bond breaks, your truths become their weapons. They won't challenge your strengths. They'll exploit your secrets. Machiavelli wasn't emotionless. He was tactical. He knew how the illusion of fragility could be used, but genuine fragility must be shielded. If you must cry, do so privately. If you're breaking, hold yourself together in silence. If you want to scream, hold it down. Because every emotional reveal becomes emotional currency. Manage your outward reactions even when your internal world is chaotic. That's not manipulation, it's protection. Third, never make your loyalties obvious. You might assume allegiance should be clear, that it brings security to let others know who you trust, that people feel more secure when you take a stance. But in a realm governed by influence, loyalty becomes a risk and visibility a trap. Machiavelli put it bluntly, it is double pleasure to deceive the deceiver. If others know where your allegiances lie, they know how to trap you. They know who to manipulate, who to bribe, who to break. They'll weaponize your associations to isolate your influence, to dismantle your credibility, to erode your network from within. This is how empires fall, not through external assault, but through alliances left exposed. Your genuine loyalty, keep it hidden. Stay neutral in public. Be unpredictable. Be gracious with adversaries. Be cautious with allies. Keep people guessing who truly has your loyalty. Let them speculate. Let them chase shadows while you move in silence. In any power struggle, the most lethal tool isn't might, it's uncertainty. And there's no more unnerving figure than the one who plays friendly with all, yet betrays nothing. Fourth, never share your core motivations. They'll ask what fuels you, what's your purpose, and if you respond sincerely, you've handed them the blueprint to manipulate you. You say, "I want to prove myself." They hear, "I can control you through silence." You say, "I just want to be loved." They hear, "You're desperate for affection, and I can withhold it." You say, "I need to make my parents proud." They hear, "Guilt will break you." You thought you were connecting. You thought you were showing depth. But in power dynamics, your deepest why isn't noble, it's exploitable. And once they know what drives you, they'll steer you off course to serve their needs. Machiavelli wasn't drawn to idealism, he respected outcomes. The ends justify the means. Because people will twist your purpose to disrupt your path. They'll flatter your ego to derail your vision. They'll toss bait to keep you dancing in their narrative, not building your own. So what's the play? Feed them surface level intentions. I'm exploring my options. Just curious. Still deciding. Make your mission sound small, uninspiring. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, you're laying foundations for something enormous. They won't see until it's irreversible. Let your real reasons show through outcomes, not explanations. Fifth, never disclose what or whom you despise. In an ideal world, being upfront about your dislikes would gain respect. But this isn't that world. This world is filled with people who use your irritations as instructions. You admit, "I hate being ghosted." Suddenly, someone ghosts you just to watch you break. You say, "I can't stand being ignored." Now every silence becomes a psychological trap. You confess, "I despise being lied to." From that point on, deception becomes a tool used against you, veiled in just enough ambiguity to avoid blame. Why? Because what disgusts you becomes a lever, and emotional levers are power. The stronger your reaction, the easier it is to pull. Machiavelli cautioned, "A prince must learn to act both as a beast and as a man." This means you present civility on the outside while internally you remain invulnerable. No flinching, no hesitating, no emotional reactions. Because once someone uncovers what repulses you, they will begin testing it, not overtly but incrementally, subtly like a surgeon with a scalpel, to see if disgust can be used to manipulate you, if hatred can be turned into your weakness. So what's the counter? You master emotional neutrality, not to be passive, but to become unreadable. Don't let them know which barbs strike. Don't expose who intimidates you. Don't reveal who irritates you. Project the illusion that nothing gets to you, because the moment they identify your enemies, they'll use justice as bait to lure you away from power. Sixth, never let anyone see what you're willing to sacrifice. Most believe boundaries are protected by declaring them. But in the realm of influence, that's a trap. The more you make it clear you'll never walk, the more they'll test how far they can push you and then keep pushing. You say, "I'll never leave this position." Suddenly, they underpay you confidently. You say, "I'd never hurt them no matter what." Now they engage in emotional betrayal just beneath the surface. You tip them, "This is the relationship I treasure most." Now they know they can give you the bare minimum and you'll remain. At that moment, you've announced you're not a threat. Machiavelli advised that leaders should seem expendable, but never actually be. And always allow others to think they are dispensable, even when they aren't. That's how you shift the dynamic. Don't say, "I'll never leave." Say, "This works for me for now." Don't say, "I'd do anything for this." Say, "I'll do what's reasonable while it still makes sense." That isn't heartless, that's tactical. Because your willingness to give something up is your final line of defense. And once they know what that line is, they won't ask for it directly. They'll deplete everything around it until you surrender it voluntarily. In a world obsessed with clarity, clarity can become a weapon. You've heard it. Be transparent. Speak directly. Tell people what you need. But Machiavelli would counter, "He who is the cause of another's greatness is himself undone." Meaning, when you lay out your mental blueprint, you hand others the map to dismantle you. Seventh, never expose your internal self-image. Of all the secrets, this one is most dangerous. Not what you think of others, but how you truly perceive yourself. Because if someone knows how you value yourself internally, they know exactly how to control your external world. Confess even a hint of self-doubt, and they'll echo it back until you believe it's truth. Say you feel unattractive, untalented, unworthy, and they'll mirror those insecurities in subtle, cutting ways. Jokes dressed as compliments. Neglect disguised as neutrality. Backhanded compliments. Subtle neglect. They won't teach you to hate yourself with hostility, but with quiet agreement. Even worse, if you dare say you believe in your worth, in your rise, in your vision, they'll see you as a threat. Because most people aren't looking to uplift rising voices. They're searching for cracks, insecurities, admissions of doubt, so they can feel secure next to your silence. Machiavelli would have told you, people are simple and compliant to immediate needs, so the deceiver will always find someone willing to be deceived. And your most powerful deception, letting them believe they understand you. So what should you do? Keep them guessing. Play the version of yourself they can handle, modest, curious, harmless. Don't announce your ambition. Let them scoff. Let them feel safe. Because their comfort is your camouflage, and comfort breeds complacency. Want to become untouchable? Let them assume you're stuck. Let them laugh while you plan a move they never saw coming. By now, you've learned what to hide. But Machiavelli's brilliance wasn't only about secrecy, it was about turning silence into a weapon. Silence isn't emptiness, it's pressure. It unsettles people, it makes them speculate, it compels them to talk too much, and in doing so reveal what you never had to ask. Silence becomes a reflection. People pour their fears into your quiet. They assume you know more than you do. They overanalyze every word you withhold. And that's your edge, because the one who speaks least sets the emotional temperature. We live in an age addicted to over-explaining. People feel compelled to clarify, defend, broadcast every thought. But you have become Machiavellian. You've outgrown the need to be understood. Because you know the truth, once they understand how you operate, they'll use that knowledge to control you. Silence is leverage. Restraint is superiority. Mystery is armor. If they can't read you, they can't predict you. They can't trap you. They can't mobilize others against you. Because the fully understood individual is easily charted, managed, and manipulated. But the one who offers no insight, he becomes a legend. You don't need to be rich yet. You don't need to have power yet. You don't need to dominate the room. What you need is to remain unreadable. Because those who can't be read can't be shaken. You don't know their intentions. You can't see their limits. You can't guess their fears because they never offered you the blueprint. And when they walk in, people sit taller. They pause before they speak. They triple-check their words, not because they were threatened, but because they were left in the dark. That's what Machiavelli meant when he spoke of maintaining the appearance of virtue without having to live it. It's not about faking it, it's about control. Because in a world that scans for soft spots, why would you ever put yours on display? Now that you understand what must always stay hidden, here's how you move through the world visible to everyone, yet understood by no one. Because Machiavelli didn't teach isolation, he taught quiet infiltration. He didn't say disappear from sight. He said become the unseen force that shapes the room. To truly win, you have to move quietly within the system. Learn how it functions. Smile in conversations. Chuckle at their stories. Nod at their ideas, but keep your truths buried. You're not pretending to agree. You're simply not pledging loyalty. Here's how this looks in action. They ask, what's your opinion of this person? You say, still observing and not sure yet? They ask, where are you headed next? You say, we'll see. They ask, what are you really aiming for? You say, mostly peace. Give them mist. Give them riddles. Give them answers that resemble honesty, but offer no leverage. Why? Because power begins to rot when it becomes transparent. And you are now a mystery by design. Power doesn't always show up as dominance. Sometimes it's the silent shift in a room, a quiet adjustment that no one sees coming until it's too late. Let others rant. Let others try to prove their superiority in public. Let them show their pride. You correct in silence. When disrespected, you don't confront, you don't flare up. You reposition, you pull back access, you delay your responses, you reshape outcomes privately. That is the Machiavellian correction, not a blast, but erosion. They may never trace it back to you, but they'll feel it. They'll sense the frost. They'll carry the weight of something they can't define, and it will stay with them. People assume every conflict must be loud in public. But Machiavelli understood that every visible confrontation costs something. Your reputation, your focus, your energy. So how do you win silently? You last longer, you think deeper, you plant seeds of uncertainty in your rival's mind without ever touching them. Imagine someone targets you, they spread lies, they try to sabotage you. Don't panic, don't defend, don't even acknowledge. You simply close your circle. You stop revealing. You build in silence. And one day they realize you've taken the position they believed was theirs without a fight, using quiet as your blade. Always remember, the one who climbs by stepping over others is fragile. But the one who rises in shadows, that's the one remembered because no one saw it coming. And what you can't predict, you can't defeat. Everyone exposes themselves when they speak too freely. That's why your words should do one of two things: create smoke or hide your flame. Every response should feed confusion, not lies, illusions. Someone asks, are you trying to take control? You smile, just doing my part. Someone says, you've changed, just focused on growth. These aren't fabrications, they're protective layers. Because the more they try to decode you, the less effort they spend resisting you. You're not invisible. You're not a wall. You're a reflection. And when they can't decipher you, all they're left with is their own distorted image. That's the reason they're intimidated by you. And that's the reason they respect you, because you've become indecipherable, impossible to predict, and too dangerous to dismiss. Once you've stripped away what made you vulnerable, what do you replace it with? Nothing at all. Not new explanations. Not an improved narrative. Not some grand reinvention. You replace it with stillness. What? Because stillness forces others to guess, and what they project into your silence is always shaped by their own fears, desires, or admiration. The one who stays quiet after betrayal unnerving because their next move is unknown. The one who never outlines their goals formidable because they might be 10 moves ahead. The one who stays neutral in conflict unsettling because they are governed by nothing and no one. This was Machiavelli's true art. Men judge more by appearances than by reality. Everyone sees what you show them. Few grasp what lies beneath. He understood that true authority comes from controlling what people don't know, not from what you disclose. That's what builds rulers. Not charm, not transparency, not popularity, but the ability to remain unreadable in a society obsessed with sharing. When people exit your life, you owe them nothing. When they betray you, you owe them no closure. When they question your worth, you owe them no proof. Let your quiet be the retribution. Let your absence speak for itself. Let your evolution be their regret. Those who breach your boundaries don't need guidance, they need exclusion. That's the principle Machiavelli would insist on. Never let someone examine your soul after they've proven they damage it. Now you carry yourself differently. You no longer speak to be acknowledged, you speak with intention. You don't expose emotions, only what's strategic. You don't explain your silence, the silence says enough. They may never voice it, but they'll feel it. I'm not sure what's going on in their mind, but I know better than to challenge them. That's the currency of silence. That's the authority secrecy gives. That's what withholding your essence creates, a climate of both reverence and fear. You're no longer a figure they can easily categorize. You've become an atmosphere they must adjust to. You don't have to be manipulative or cold or controlling. All you need is to control the gate, what's revealed, what's visible, and what people feel entitled to access. And once you shut those gates, the power shifts. The realm is yours once more. Machiavelli's harshest truth wasn't about dominance, it was about mastery. He who masters himself is more powerful than one who conquers a nation. And now you've mastered the impulse to explain, to vent, to be understood by all. You've outgrown the version of yourself that bled for every curious question. Now you stay quiet, you watch, you shift, you strike. And by the time they recognize your transformation, it's far too late to stop it. Because the loud demands attention, the impulsive demand caution, but the quiet are unstoppable.